lake's got some really, really big fish in it. Not all water grows big trophy fish. Certain water quality, storage, bases, a lot of things have to come together to grow good numbers of big fish in any environment. Also, there's some things you can do that'll help up your odds at catching big fish.
Hey, look at this. Wow.
Hey, that's what I call a big fish. I don't have the tackle that can handle that, but I know where I can get some.
On today's In Fisherman, mega bait strategies for mega bass. Exclusive video footage of a new world record muskie. And techniques to find and catch monster river stripers.
Ooh,
we'll be right back.
I love them, man.
The most powerful overall line of truck engines on the planet has just gotten 2 cylinders better. Introducing the new 300 horsepower Dodge Magnum V10, now available in this handsome carrying case. New Dodge Ram, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
Oh, say, Ed, you did remember to get those extra tackle boxes, didn't you?
Yeah.
How about the net?
Yes.
And you got the bait, right?
Yes, Dennis.
How about the tri-lead?
Yeah.
Ed?
I got plenty of fishing line.
Ed. We ain't going fishing without Berkley Tri-Lead.
Berkley Tri-Lead, America's #1 selling fishing line.
Over the years, Al Lindner has boated numerous giant fish of all different species, generating material for In Fisherman magazine articles and TV segments. With literally tens of thousands of hours logged on the water, he has gained phenomenal insight on big fish behavior. Let's join Al with a surprisingly simple formula for finding the biggest bass in any body of water.
Get here on that flipping stick, I can handle you. Hey, you want to know how to catch more? Oh boy, did she eat that thing. You want to know how to catch more and bigger bass like this than ever before? Well, the answer is really simple. Start fishing slower, bigger baits, and at peak times of the year, no matter what body of water you're fishing at. That's what we're going to be talking about today on In Fisherman, how to catch more consistent big bass like this. I'm going to show you how to put the odds in your favor. The first part of the formula to put the odds in your favor is naturally big baits. And big baits do catch more fish. I fish a lot of 8, 9, 10-inch worms, big bulky worms, big 10-inch power worms. These are my favorite big bass baits. Big, giant craw worms. Look at the size of that dude. That's a big bass bait in a lot of conditions. And my day in, day out favorite, a big, big pork chunk. Big, giant piece of pork on the back of it. These 3 are my favorite consistent big bass baits. Then you can fish a big minnow bait and a big spinner bait. But the first part of the formula is big baits. I'm going to stay with this big giant looking thing here. I got about 4 different rods rigged differently. Everybody likes to catch big fish. You know, there's no question about that. But big fish fishing is different than numbers fishing. Okay, you can throw standard baits, standard times, and every once in a while get a big fish on a standard jig and minnow for walleyes, or a 6-inch worm for bass, or a 3/8 ounce spinner bait and get a big bass. No question about that. But the art of big fish fishing is just what it says it is. I mean, you're fishing big fish and you fish big fish consistently different than you do numbers fish. Oh. Woo! Oh. Wow! Love it! Man, that fish don't want to quit. That's the other part. Look at that. Ooh, a little bust of sun. Does that feel good on my body? I'll clue you. Now, the other part of the formula to catch big bass like this with some consistency, big baits first, And then it's all in a presentation. That means slow. And let me get another big worm on here. One thing about fishing these giant baits like this, whether they're giant craws or 8, 9, 10-inch worms, even 12-inch worms like this, or the big, giant jig and pig, you got to develop confidence in fishing these baits. And then you got to fish oh so slow. Oh so slow. The term is almost like dead sticking. You pick out a piece of cover, a stump or a bush or something, you throw that bait in there, and you just leave it sit there. Leave it sit there. This is hard for me to do. You know, being a type A personality, I like throwing buzz baits, spinner baits, crank baits. But when you got a big fish, nothing beats dead sticking. Big baits, tight on cover. It's easy to understand fishing big baits and fishing slow. Anybody can grasp that concept. But when to fish big baits and when to fish slow and where to fish them is a different story. Take a look at this.
For largemouth bass, and all fish for that matter, there's a number of what the in-fisherman refers to as peak periods. Those are times when environmental conditions concentrate the fish in defined areas and they're biting. Spring is one of those prime times. During the pre-spawn period, largemouth move from their deeper wintering areas to shallower spawning coves and bays. This happens when the temperature stabilizes around the mid-50-degree range. From this time until the actual spawn itself, usually around the mid-60s, large numbers of big bass are concentrated shallow. Fish these areas close to the full or dark moon and you'll dramatically up your odds for a really trophy bass.
Another important thing with this kind of fishing. Remember, you're fishing big bass, the biggest fish in the system. Don't go in there with, this isn't an ultralight approach. This is heavy stout rods, 6.5 footers, 15, 17, 20, 25, 30-pound test line. I don't like spinning for this kind of condition. The baits I'm talking about and the size fish I'm fishing here, I prefer a good stout bait casting rod. I'm fishing 20-pound, 25-pound, sometimes 30-pound test line. In this case, I'm fishing a 5-aught Mustad hook, real heavy duty. Something that isn't going to straighten out on a big bass when you got to pull them out of that cover. That's one of the mistakes a lot of anglers make. They're putting big baits on and they're going after them with Mickey Mouse equipment. Never land a big fish that way. Big fish fishing takes certain techniques, and big heavy equipment is part of it. Hey, if you fish tournaments, this is key information for you to know, especially if you're on lakes where you've caught a limit of fish already and they're all 2-pounders, and you want to up your odds. You know, you want to catch that 4, 5, or 6-pounder. That's where this technique really works. Oh! Oh, man! What a fish! Oh, look at that fish! It's the biggest bass I have seen in a moon, folks. Well, look at the size of that one. Wow, wow. Now, when I'm talking about fishing, catching big bass on big baits, that's what I'm talking about, huh? That is what I'm talking about. Big baits, fish real slow, produce giant fish. Like that baby. That's the biggest bass I caught in many, many a moon.
Next on The In-Fisherman, a new world record muskie and hunting monster river stripers. Stay tuned.
Last year, Quantum introduced Hypercast, the most revolutionary spinning reel ever, and now the Hypercast 2. It's smaller, 25% lighter, and a walleye fisherman's dream come true. With Hypercast, you never touch the line. The stem-mounted trigger opens the bail automatically regardless of bail position. You just pull the trigger, aim, and cast. The new Hypercast 2 has all the features of the original, including continuous anti-reverse for rock-solid hook sets.
Quantum Hypercast, the fastest way to the fish.
These are the big-name outboard motor oils.
And this is TCW3 from Lubramatic. Lubramatic offers the same high-performance protection for your high-performance engine. It won't void your warranty, and it'll save you money, so you get considerably more. Lubramatic TCW3, available at your local marine supply store.
Give me the throttle, I'll show you some speed. Give me a swab and I'll saute some weeds. I was teased on stump, I was born to tow. I got a grip in that propeller and I'm itching to go. Stump breaking, weed shaking, Minn Kota fishing machine, yeah. Ain't no place to hide from my four-wheel drive.
Minn Kota, four-wheel drive for your boat.
Now there's a fish finder that goes fishing anytime, any place, any way you like to fish. Bottom Line's new fishing buddy. Portable.